The Defence White Paper, which we're expecting out very shortly, will be a white paper predominantly about the Navy. There are three things in particular that we'll be looking out for when the white paper is released. The first is the strategic explanation of why we need a larger and more powerful Navy. For all the justified attention that's been given to the Middle East and its problems in recent years, our defence planners are actually most concerned over the long term about maritime insecurity in our neighbourhood. You've got the rise of China, you've got a big shift in power and wealth towards Asia. Countries in our region are spending more and more on defence. There are contested maritime claims in our region. All of these things are of critical concern to Australia. We need new submarines, we need new surface warships, we need new patrol vessels, and we'll be very interested to see how our defence planners explain how these will be used to guarantee our future maritime security. That includes things like not just protecting our territory, of course, but also safeguarding our sea lanes of communication to make sure that our trade, and we depend obviously very heavily on trade, can get out to the markets around the world. The second thing we'll be looking at closely is the money. The Turnbull government is likely to recommit to the 2% spending target. That's 2% of GDP spent on defence by about 2022-23, that financial year. It's a promise that Tony Abbott made. Malcolm Turnbull will most likely stick to that pledge. But how will that money be spent over the coming years? The main thing is making sure that our shipbuilding industry becomes less lumpy, less sort of up and down in the way that shipbuilding is carried out. That needs to be made more consistent into a continuous build that includes the surface warships and the submarines, and we need to see that the money is allocated over the coming years to make sure that that can be done. And the third thing we'll be looking out for is what is the opportunity cost? If all this money and effort is going towards the Navy, will that come at somebody else's expense? Now, David Morrison, the former Chief of Army, before he retired, in one of his final interviews, did express some concern that Army could get squeezed. The most obvious area for that is in the Land 400 armoured vehicles, a replacement fleet that the Army desperately needs. We'll just be looking out for whether or not that suffers as a result of the extra funding for Navy.